Hey guys, this is Jay. Welcome to my journey. So, where did the journey begin? You may be wondering. The journey began on June 11th of 2025 when I guess life told me to leave, or at least it felt that way. It almost felt like my body moved on its own, like someone took over the controller and just caused my body to move to pack my things. I was really concerned about this journey because, while I did tell my grandmother I was leaving, I don't think she understood that I wasn't coming back. And of course, I trust that she was in good hands because I had two aunts. I had one that lived right next to her and one that comes over every single day. So there wasn't anything to worry about, right? I wanted to tell people goodbye, including my friends and family, but there was like this inner resistance that kept me from saying that. And I think the reason why this inner resistance was happening within me, because I knew that the real truth is that if I would have told them I was leaving, everybody would stop me or start asking me questions. Why are you leaving? Why are you doing that for? Like, I knew they weren't going to understand, but it had to happen. And so while I was packing my things, I was asking myself the question, what are we going to do for money? And life was saying, don't worry about it. It's already taken care of for you. I was like, I only have $20 and a full tank of gas. And we really have no plan. He's like, it's like life was saying, just trust. Trust the process. So I packed my things, took sugar with me, and we left. Our first destination was Austin. When we were traveling to Austin, we made it through Houston. Of course, it was like a storm. The rain was really, it was to a point where I couldn't even see through it. Couldn't see ahead of me. I'm surprised I survived the storm, I would say. It was almost like life was giving me a message that there's about to be a storm ahead of me. And not the kind that I just passed through physically, but more of like family connections, I'll talk about that in another video. I finally drove to a spot that was like an hour away from Austin. I took a break and I was just questioning myself. Man, it was crazy because I'm really good about my intuition. So I knew when I left it actually felt too peaceful for it to be how would I explain this? I was actually really calm for what crazy choice I made. It was hard for me to believe that I felt this calm. At least my mind was telling me that. My mind was trying to tell me I should freak out, but my body was still calm and just keep on driving, regardless if I want to turn around or not. So I finally arrived to Austin, and I was really confused of what we were going to do next. And so Sugar and I parked, and we were trying to figure out what to do next. Should we look for a job or should we find a place to park overnight so we can figure out what we're going to do next here in Austin? So I pulled up the GPS, and I guess I found a place that was, think it was called Waterloo Park. Apparently you could park overnight there. I wasn't for sure because I never went. Because when I was going in routes, a person flagged me down and asked me for help. So, and we pretty much spent that day trying to fix his vehicle. And it was a crazy experience because, like, it just so happened that I was talking to somebody who was like really, I mean, it felt like this journey that no matter who I bump into, like we were having we're having like a conversation about God or life, whatever name you want to go by, consciousness. I feel like God has many names, and you know, if you don't think that, that's fine. Please don't comment and say, hey, you're wrong, if anyone's watching this video. Me and him were talking about how everything is connected. Nothing is coincidence. Like, me and him bumping into each other, that wasn't a coincidence. I mean, I was needing some cash, but he also needed help, and I had a vehicle to help take him anywhere he needed to. And so I did. We ended up changing his battery out because he had a bad battery. And when we put the new battery in, his vehicle still wouldn't turn. And he's like, you know what, dude? Like, we were kind of bummed out at first, but we decided to go get something to eat. Of course, I'm still practicing a vegetarian diet. I don't know if I'm going to return back to meat or not. But during this journey, the rule was no drinking, no smoking, no eating meat. Try to stay away from garlic and onions. Try to stay away from spicy food. And also celibacy and meditation. And so we went to, what did I say, a halal? I wasn't for sure if I even said that or not. But anyways, we went to this halal restaurant, or this food truck, and we sat there, and I mean, we're just having this conversation. This guy's name was Malachi. He was, you know, I guess one of the people in the Bible. Of course, I'm thinking about rereading the Bible again. I mean, I've been reading the Bhagavad Gita, but I like to read different aspects of life. Probably after reading the Bible, I want to read the Quran, if I'm saying that right, and possibly other religious scriptures. But from my experience from exploring different aspects of life, it always comes down to, you know, the one being that we're all connected to. Not just within me, not just within Jesus Christ, not just within Buddha, not just within Krishna, but everything. That's why it's important to be kind to others, because if you want kind, I mean, you know, that's you, you know, especially the carpet, the laptop, the stick, you know. You show sensitivity towards it, show love, affection towards these things, you know, life always mirrors that back towards you. And I remember this guy, I mean, we were talking about, you know, like, I told him I was like kind of afraid of giving like homeless people money because I don't know what they're going to do with it. But he kind of made a point like, you know, I mean, again, going back to how we're all connected to this source, and it's within everyone. And he was talking about how, you know, when someone comes up to you and asks you money, I mean, that's God speaking through him. And I guess you can say maybe is a test or not. But I remember there was a lady that looked at me, and then Malachi turned around and asked her, "Can I help you?" I mean, she looked like she wanted money, but there was something about her. She just like, she shook her head and just walked away. And then a guy comes up and asks Malachi directly money, and then he gave him money. And then as soon as Malachi gave him that money, Malachi was like, "You know what? I have a feeling that my vehicle is going to like turn over. It's going to run. It's going to be fine." So we drove back, and what do you know? As soon as he turns on the vehicle, turns the key over, the vehicle turns on. We don't know how, other than, you know, maybe this is a connection with life. I talked to his mother, and we were having this conversation about, you know, when you take care of life, life takes care of you. You know, life exists within all of us and around us. And I'm using life instead of God because I don't know who's watching this video. It's to me, God and life is a very, well, I feel like life is a universal word for, you know, God, consciousness, universe. I mean, it exists now. So once I turned over, once the engine turned on, he stopped somewhere and gave me $40 and some food. And then his mom asked me for my Cash App, and then she ended up sending me $80. And I remember I was like, I have a feeling I should continue my journey. He's like, "Yeah, you should, man. You should definitely do that." Of course, we never exchanged numbers. Hopefully one day we cross paths again, or maybe he'll find me on YouTube. I never told him I was going to start a YouTube thing, or I didn't start one until I drove all the way up to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Of course, that'll be another video that I'll talk about that in. And so Sugar and I drove to our next rest stop in Central Texas. We rest overnights, and that was the end of day one. So I guess the biggest takeaway from this video is trust the process, trust the universe, because it always has your back. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being part of my journey. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.